And I approach things really from a schematic, step-by-step perspective.
Okay.
So just to give you a real quick bit of background, before we ever start talking about design, can you hear me okay? If you get an echo or anything?
Break up every now and then, but otherwise pretty good.
Okay. I can plug in some earphones if that helps, but if you
Uh,
say
it's,
it's
it's it's pretty good so far.
all right, let me know if we break up. I can always just dial in on my cell phone here.
Okay.
But the point I wanted to make was before we ever really even talk about design, I wanted to sort of go back to the drawing board and make sure that we're really hitting our customers' hot buttons, your customers' hot buttons, with the way that we lay out the site, with the things that we say on the sites. And I want to just give you a real quick glimpse about that, if I may, sir.
Okay.
So we go through this web strategy process, and it's pretty simple to understand. There's just three questions. The first question is, what actions do we want our customers and prospects to take when they visit the site? And so we broke this down into the desktop version and the mobile version of the site and tried to prioritize them with what we think is important. And what I'm curious to hear from you, if I just bust through this list here, would you agree with these things? Would you add anything to this list or shuffle this list up in any way? But let me see if I can just
Um,
increase on this here.
well, I mean, I think order now would be the ultimate best.
Mhm.
Getting the call would be second best in my opinion. Um, or have us call them. You know, those
Okay.
three are the most important in my opinion.
Okay. Let's talk about that a little bit more. So, can you give me just a ballpark kind of percentage-wise? How often is it, Doug, that you get somebody who orders online without any interaction from you at all?
That really doesn't happen that often. But
Okay.
if there was a way to make them understand that it was truly secure,
Mm-hmm.
and I know it is secure because I've actually had a few people order that way.
Mm-hmm.
They're few and far between, but if there was a way to make them feel comfortable about it truly being secure,
Mm-hmm.
their information, I think a lot of them probably would order that way.
Okay. Make sure form appears as secure.
Yeah, that's really important. People are hesitant to
Sure.
give their personal information, but if it somehow, you know, they understand that there's no way it can be shared, that
Mm-hmm.
they might even feel more comfortable doing it that way than doing it live over the phone.
Yeah, absolutely. That's certainly a possibility. What would you say, Doug, percentage-wise right now? You said most everybody you just speak to them over the phone. Is that about 90% of the time, would you say? 90-10?
As far as our orders,
Yeah.
yeah, most of it's phone by phone, probably 80%, 85% probably. We get a lot
Okay.
of walk-ins because we've got a showroom and stuff.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, so but of those that go through the website, you say about 85% would call, and the other 15% you think either ordering through the web form or would order through that web form if they
I
felt it
think
was.
most people, yeah, well, if they look at our website, I think the majority of them just go ahead and call us. I
Okay.
do get some people that email directly from the website, asking for information, but that's few and far between. I mean, I'm sure Angelo can see those, but people, I don't know, maybe 3 a month or something on the average.
Okay. Last question on this. When you get somebody on the phone, are they typically ready to order right away, or do they have a bunch of questions for you that you got to sort of convince them?
They almost always have questions.
Okay.
Hardly ever are they ready to order.
Okay. That's what I wanted to know. And do you think the reason they have so many questions is they just haven't gone through the website, or they just prefer to speak to somebody, a human being, as opposed to having to read it for themselves? What are the nature of those questions?
Well, mostly it's because they don't quite understand all the additional charges. That's
Okay.
That's the main thing. And I don't know how you would ever get that across on a website, but if you could do that, that'd be great. But um, you know, they understand what the monthly price is going to be and all that, but they don't understand if they have 2, 3, 4 TVs, DVR. They don't. You know, that's not explained well anywhere. So.
Okay. Um, So if we had some kind of a pricing calculator or a simple little form they could fill out to say how many TVs do you have, which package do you want, how many hoppers and how many joeys, and it spit out a price for them.
Well, yeah,
Would
if you
that
would
be
get them,
helpful?
if you could get them to go to that easily, so they could
Uh-huh.
do it on their own, where they could see it on their screen, that'd be very helpful.
Okay.
Because I know it's there now. I know it's there now. After they plug the stuff in, they have to go to the order process to do it.
Right.
But if you had just a pricing calculator, like on the screen, where they could see it just for themselves without ordering anything, and they know they're not ordering anything, I think that'd be very beneficial.
Do you anticipate that would scare anybody off?
No, not really, because most people expect that there's going to be extra charges.
Okay. All right, cool. Let's see, going down the list here, let's talk about the immediate callback request. That's something that's on the site currently. Do you see much of a difference between, you know, if I just go to your site right here and have us call you, and I put in my phone number here?
I don't ever get any of those. Nobody ever does that.
No, yeah, it seems like I would just dial the number. If I needed to talk to you, I'm just going to call you myself.
Right.
I don't need you to call me right
Exactly.
back. Okay.
So nobody uses that feature. It's a neat feature. I like it, but nobody ever uses it.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, so let's the other actions I wrote down. I mean, some of these might seem pretty obvious, but we talked about the idea of maybe doing a chat session. I don't know if you would be interested in having like a live chat box on the site, or if that's would be more cumbersome for you.
Probably wouldn't be realistic because I'm not always going to be able to do it.
Got it. That's kind of what I was.
I'm only going to be able to do it during open hours. That's it.
Sure. Are you? What's your staffing look like, Doug? Are you staffed at like 9 to 5? Are you the only guy there? You got multiple folks working for you?
Right now, I'm the only guy here mostly.
Okay.
Sometimes I have someone else here, but not always.
Gotcha. And then are you doing the installs yourself, or you got a crew for that?
No, I've got a crew for that.
Okay, cool. So you're just manning the storefront and overseeing the running of the business. Okay, just make sure. We got a bunch of retailers of all different sizes and shapes, so just want to make sure I understood kind of what your operation looked like. Okay, so other stuff I wrote down here. Let's see. Be able to choose the package based on specific channels they want. This is sort of an idea where you just you type in CNN and Disney Channel and Nickelodeon or whatever, and it would spit out.
Yeah.
I need to get the.
I like that. It's a good idea.
We've got that Hopper video that we all really like here, really emphasizing that to get folks to spend some time to watch that little 2-minute or 3-minute Hopper video. I don't know if that's been successful for you, but it seems like it would be if we could get more folks to watch that little video.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't understand all the capabilities of the Hopper. So if we can convey that. In fact, I've been thinking about doing that on my radio spots, just kind of going over some of the great features that it has, because there's so much there, nobody really realizes how much better it is than the competition, So.
Absolutely. Yeah, they think, it's going to be the same as anything you get from Time Warner Cable or Comcast or Cox or even DirecTV.
Right.
Most folks think it's all about the same.
Yep. But it's definitely not. So.
Right. Okay, cool. Last thing was for having a zip code box for folks to enter a zip code to see, what the local channels are for their area. This might be more relevant if you're sort of a regional retailer. I don't know, would putting in a zip code box to see what the specific local channels are for you guys in your area?
I don't think it's a huge deal because most people are all going to get the same locals for where we cover. We run into that issue sometimes where there's a certain town that's on the boundary. So I can take or leave that one. It doesn't really matter that much.
Okay. Um, on the mobile side, now I hadn't looked at your stats, but on the we're seeing in a lot of cases up to half of our traffic now is mobile. You know, somebody coming to your site on their cell phone.
Yeah.
So definitely one of our first goals with the redesign would be to make sure that everything is mobile responsive and looks really nice on the phone and kind of simplifies things down for folks, and we get to the point faster just because we got less real estate to work with. Other stuff we're tinkering around with is tap-to-text feature, where somebody actually could send you a text message. I don't know if you're getting requests from people that prefer to, let me just send you a text message instead of having to get on the phone. Anything in your area along those lines?
No, not really. No.
Okay. Map to our location, visit the store for walk-in traffic.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the first question, and it was all about the actions that we're trying to get people to take once they hit the site. The second question is information-based, right? What information do we want customers to learn about once they visit the site? So like you spoke earlier, learn why the Hopper is so cool, why is it different than the Genie or the X1 from, what is that, Comcast, or is it, who's Xfinity's?
Is it time?
Well,
anyway, basically what sets the Hopper apart.
right.
Certainly, comparing Dish versus the competition, how does it stack up? How does it stack up against YouTube? Yeah.
That's really good. Yes.
Let me ask you about this third one here. We want them to learn about our retailer business. So we're sort of going back and forth amongst ourselves over here about what's going to be most beneficial for you guys. Is it photos and videos and events about what you guys have going on locally, or is it more stuff that's like nationwide for about the Hopper, about Dish in general, about the channel packages and so forth?
Well, I definitely want to have a local message, theme, what have you. I want them to definitely know we're locally owned and operated, because I think that, especially in my area, that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as if I had to choose about whether if I could only have one or the other, I definitely would want the current offers, whatever Dish is offering, that kind of thing, before my local information, because it doesn't mean a whole lot if they don't know what they're buying.
Sure.
But as far as the photos and videos and things like that, I think that's fine. But it'd be a lot better if I could put them there myself, not have to go through someone to do it. Because to be honest, I'd do a hell of a lot more of it if I could just go on there and plug those things in myself.
Okay.
Right now I have to submit those to Amplio, and it's just a pain, just to be quite honest. So that's why I don't do it.
Okay, fair enough.
Because we do a lot of events, we do a lot of photos and that kind of thing, and I'd probably do a lot more if I could put that up myself. Okay,
good. That's good feedback to have. I can tell you that's definitely on our roadmap that we're working on.
Okay.
And so let's see. You mentioned you do a lot of events. What's the nature of your events? Is it do you partner up with like local organizations, or do you do your own kind of stuff at the storefront, or what?
Pretty much anything and everything, but they're county fairs, home builder association, chamber of commerce events, barbecues, bigger barbecues, you name it, anywhere I can get known and seen, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any local events, great.
What's that?
Any local events.
Local events, yes. How many events would you say that you do on a monthly or weekly basis, on average?
Well, I did 15 last year.
15 events, okay.
Yeah, the year before I did like 20. I think I'm going to cut it back a little more because I didn't have as good a success. So some of the smaller ones I'm going to just not do anymore because they weren't worth my time. So I'm probably going to do 10 or somewhere in there this year.
Okay.
It all happens. It doesn't. It all there's nothing goes on between the months of November and March. Everything starts after April and ends in October.
And that just because of the weather?
Well, they're all seasonal. A lot of them are outside, so.
Sure. Cool. You made a comment, if I can only have one or the other, I'd prefer, the packages and so forth. Just a comment on that. Certainly, you don't have to choose one or the other. We want to have both. It's just which ones do we want to emphasize first and foremost, and which things would be sort of secondary or a little further down the page.
Okay. Well, first of all, I would like the current promotion emphasized the most.
Mm-hmm.
And then a very, very close second, the fact that we're local.
Okay.
For me, that's what's important. Because what they're looking for the current promotion.
Sure.
Then they're looking for who can I get those from. And when they see local, that's going to have a big benefit, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Those two combined.
Now, the fact that you're local is something I want to ask you about. Is it something that people just get and you don't really have to explain it, or would it be valuable to you, Doug, if we would put something together to say, here's why it's important that we're local? You don't have to go to the corporate guys in Colorado Springs. I'm right here in your backyard, and when you call my number, I'm going to be the one answering the phone, and I'm in your neighborhood and that kind of thing.
I think a lot of people understand the advantages of local, but I think it would also be good for me to kind of reiterate that, the basic top bullet points of why it's good to do business local.
Cool. The reason I ask is, in addition to the website, one of the things we're working on sort of behind the scenes is to really beef up the work that we're doing on the coaching front, and adding a whole lot of new modules to that, which we can talk about later on. But one of those things that we were thinking about putting out there in terms of a flyer or something you could hand out would be, some kind of a guarantee that you're able to make to homeowners that nobody else can say. Something that would separate you from the marketplace even more so.
Right.
Not just from what Dish offers, but from what you at your company.
Right. I understand. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things we do differently that they won't get from a corporate installer.
Cool. So at some point, I want to work on that. Let's see, other stuff just quickly. I think we got the most important things. We're working on a channel guide.
Good.
Helping folks choose the right package. Helping them understand that it's more than just the price and the number of channels. That maybe you don't need all those channels depending on what you're actually going to watch, or maybe you want some specialty things on top of that. So just some little tools like that. Things like the Dish Movie Pack, Dish Anywhere, some of the other things that talk about besides the main talking points of Hopper and the channel packs. Do you get a lot of attention or traction from people on these things, like the Movie Pack and Dish Anywhere and on-demand stuff?
No, not really. I mean, people don't. No, people don't even realize it's available. And when I always tell them when they order, did you realize you can get this or do this or that? It really doesn't seem to have much of an impact on them.
They just don't care, or does it sound too complicated for them, or okay?
They don't seem to care too much. Maybe it's my area, I don't know, but I would think that the Dish Anywhere would be cool because I use it all the time. But a lot of people are like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool, but they don't act like that it's important enough for them to make the difference.
So most of them, they want TV service, so they come home at the end of the day and fire up the Hopper and watch their shows, and that's it.
That's a lot of it. Recording is kind of important, and them being able to record and see the shows they want to see. That's it, pretty much.
Okay. Record these shows.
Oh, and inexpensive. The number one thing is price around here.
Okay.
People are tightwads in this area.
Okay.
I mean, it's just a fact because that's almost always the reason they called in or came in, price. I know it's not the same everywhere, but it is here. So.
All right. So let's go ahead.
Well, what really is we need to show, I mean, is what they're getting for their money. That's the problem they don't understand. They don't understand. Yeah, they're the problem. What message I'd like to be able to convey, if I could, ultimately would be, you're going to pay less and you're going to get so much more.
Okay.
Equipment's better. You're getting more channels and you're going to be paying less than the competition. They don't understand that. They go, well, all they see is like, oh yeah, you're going to be this much, but right now I'm getting this from this company. But when you break it down, they're getting less channels and they don't even have DVR. They're not comparing apples to apples.
Yeah.
So they just look at price so heavily. Their blinders are on for everything else.
Right. Okay, so that just speaks, for me, that just speaks to we need to be doing a better job of
How to market.
yeah, just explaining why Dish is so different.
Mm-hmm.
The argument that I give, you got car companies like Mercedes and BMW who charge twice as much as Toyota and Chevrolet, and yet they're doing pretty well in their business, and people keep buying those expensive cars that they don't necessarily need. So what is it about those cars? It's like there's a luxury aspect to it that I would love to somehow articulate that for Dish, because I think, like you said, the equipment's better. That's the big one for me, is that nobody can touch what this hopper's doing.
Right.
Okay, so you said people, like you said, they have blinders on.
Around here, it's just, once you get anything past price, they don't even hear what you say,
Okay. They don't even give you a chance to explain what the price is.
Right. You got to show you're cheaper. If you don't, that's about 80% of your battle lost.
Got it. And how are you showing cheaper? Are you doing the first year promotions, or are you doing the 3-year price?
No. Well, luckily we are less expensive. I mostly do the 3-year because it's a better deal. I mean, when you put the pencil to it, it is a better deal. So.
Yeah.
So luckily, I mean, with that promotional pricing, it's hard for them to argue that they're going to pay less over the course of 3 years, because I always remind them, I say, well, look, it's DirecTV is going to go up. You might be getting a better deal now, but it's not going to stay that way for 3 years.
Okay.
Because if they're still on the current promotional pricing, it's going to be cheaper than Dish's 3-year price, but you got to look at all 3 years. Plus, they'll have a price increase in those 3 years. They will.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I make that point. So.
And so when folks come to you, before you get a chance to talk them through this thing, are they feeling that Dish is more expensive than DirecTV already, and you have to sort of change their mind about that, or are they thinking that Dish is the cheapest?
I think that they think they're all the same.
Okay.
I think they think, as far as price-wise, they can all do whatever they want for the customer, is what they think.
Gotcha. Okay. One note on that action, and Danielle, you can help me with this. Are you guys doing any kind of like a nurturing campaign where you'd get somebody's email address and you'd put them on your mailing list and you'd follow up with them, like an autoresponder series that sends them emails about why Dish is better or why Dish is different?
So, I mean, specifically, Doug isn't doing that right now.
Okay.
Unless that we're aware of. Unless, are you, Doug?
No.
Yeah, no, not that we're aware of.
I'm wondering would that be helpful, like taking a more long-term approach where we educate consumers as opposed to more of an impulse buy, which I think it's in a lot of ways Dish or TV service is just kind of an impulse buy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you nurture them to buy it from you.
So you're gathering their email from the website when they go there? Is that what it is, or what?
Yeah, that's kind of a standard thing that a lot of businesses would do. Not necessarily with Dish, I don't know about, but you gather their email and then follow up with them with some helpful information, kind of like you said.
I like that. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, one of the things we do have available is a stay up to date ad panel that we put on the retailers' websites, and that basically says stay up to date with Spyder Technologies, and then it helps them, or it tells them to put in their email, and that we would obviously send them emails at a later time. So whether it's a newsletter or exactly what Nick is talking about, just to nurture them throughout. So just to gather that list of emails and be able to email them.
Yes.
Okay. Stay up to date.
Stay up to date there.
Okay. So what's new and exciting with Dish? This is kind of what you said as your number one thing. What are the current promotions? So I'm going to move this up here to the top. Right there. When you talk about promotions, is it all about the packages and the pricing, or is there anything folks care about in terms of like specific TV shows that might be hot right now?
No. Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay, so
now,
just,
when Dish had the iPad, that was a hot thing too, but that's all. It's about pricing, except for when they were offering an iPad, then that was a big deal to people.
that was a big deal, sure.
Yeah, but that's gone, so.
Okay. Is there anything in regard to the installation process? I know I sat in on some webinars. I think it was for Dish Corporate. Just about how they do their installation process and how it's so different than it used to be. They can give you a 45-minute window on the install, and you can look on your phone and see where the installer is en route to your house. Installer's name is Chuck, and here's his picture, and he's going to be there in 18 minutes. Stuff like that. I don't know if that was just on the corporate side for those corporate installs, but certainly even on the local side. Do you find folks have any pushback about the installation process or anything that we could sort of sell them on in regards to the install?
Well, no, I don't have any problems with people. We pretty much get there on time, and we don't give them a 4-hour window either. So,
okay.
But the only thing is, our years of experience, which that all goes with local. We do have very experienced people, so if there's some way to, tout that, that would be good. Other than that, no, nothing really on the installation.
Okay. So experience.
Yeah, experience of installer, or experience of installing crew or individuals, installers, or both.
Okay.
And question about the installation real quick, Doug. When you said you don't give them a 4-hour period, how much time do you give them to get to their home? Do you install same day?
I give them, I put them on a schedule. We schedule it. I schedule with the customer, and I say it's going to be right around this time because, like I know how long their job's going to take based on the number of TVs. So, and then I put them up against the last order, and I tell them it'll be right around 2 o'clock or so. I said it could vary, some because we don't always know how long the job's going to take. But we always call on the way too, so 30 minutes out.
Okay. So you have more of a concrete hour.
So I know, yeah, because I know a lot of them will say, okay, the installer's going to be there in the morning or the afternoon. We don't do that.
Okay.
Okay, we give them a roundabout time. I don't, I can't tell them a specific time in which I tell them the reason why,
Yeah.
So I can't just say 1 o'clock because it may not be 1. It might be 12:30. It might be 1:30.
Yeah.
Sure. But in general, it's the whole installation process is not really a pushback that you're saying a lot of folks have.
No, not at all.
Okay. What about testimonials from customers? Do you guys do any kind of a follow-up process to, like that same day that the install is done to get a testimonial from the person, or maybe the next day follow up with an email or a phone call to try and collect the testimonial to put on the website?
I follow up with a phone call myself, but not 100%. But
okay.
I don't ask for testimonials, although I think testimonials on the website would be an awesome idea. I would love to have that.
Okay, yeah. Just to tease it, I'm kind of thinking of is a way to give you guys like a recorded line, so that you could, if you're calling a customer anyway, you can record that call and say, hey, tell me how it went. What are your thoughts? And if the person had a good experience and they start going on and on about it, man, I'd love to have that as an MP3 or something to put on the site.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Let's see.
whether it be you know, recorded or voice, or if it's just, you know, typed on there. Any kind of testimonial is good. I do testimonials on the radio for my customers now. So.
Okay.
Cool. I'm gonna talk to you after we knock this out here. I'm gonna ask you about those radio ads here in just a second.
Okay.
Okay. So last thing I had was on the thank you page. This would be after they ordered online, just preparing them for what's going to happen next, setting expectations. You know, you expect a phone call from such and such phone number. We're going to do a credit check. We're going to schedule the installation, all the stuff like you just said.
Mm-hmm.
So that's on my list. All right, so that was question number 2 of 3, was just the information we want to make sure that we want to push to people when they hit the site. Did we pretty much encapsulate it, Doug? Anything we missed here? Do you want to add to this list?
Well, it's pretty thorough. It's kind of hard to. No, I don't think there's anything else that I can think of right now.
Okay, good. I was just hoping we didn't miss the mark entirely. All right, so here's the last question, Doug. It was kind of the opposite of question 2. So rather than stuff we want to tell people about once they hit the site, this question is the opposite. What are people looking for when they hit the site? What are they coming to your site to find out about?
Mm-hmm.
I think we put in red what you hit on earlier. What are your current packages? Or what are the current promotions? What deals do you have going on? Right? Is that pretty much the number one thing people are looking for that you find?
Yeah, mostly current pricing, current promos.
Okay.
Maybe we should ask them that question, why they did. Do you think anybody answered that question? If they went to the website, what brought you here?
Yeah, depending on how we ask them the question. Yeah, sure. I think they definitely would.
I think that'd be valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Especially advertising. So if somebody heard me on the radio or they saw me on TV and they went to the website, I'd want to know that.
Sure. I'm going to write that under the actions here. Quick survey, what brought you here? Radio, email, flyer, newspaper.
And whatever, it could be anything. Yeah. Google, you know.
Google, yeah, etc. Yeah, and then if you had some statistics on that, to percentages, look, we're getting most of our traffic from events. We need to do more events.
Yeah, that'd be great information.
Okay, I got that on the list.
Because that's what a lot of people do. They see you on the TV, first thing they do is go on your website, which is great. We want them to do that, but I want them to know where it originated from. I want to know, you know.
Yeah, definitely so. Okay. Let's see, how much is it going to cost? What are the current promotions? I wrote down some other stuff here. I don't know if you would agree with these or if you want to scratch some of these off the list, Doug, or shuffle up this list. What special channels or add-ons do you have, like for sports or for movies or premiums or Latino or international?
Mm-hmm. I guess they're okay, but I don't.
Okay, I'm just trying. We were just racking our brains. What in the world would people be looking for when they hit the site, and trying to make sure we emphasize the most important ones.
Yeah.
What about bundles? Do people ask you a lot about bundles, like with internet and phone?
Yeah, that's a big deal. Yeah, I lose a lot of business because of bundles. And
Really?
we can't really. You know that we have Dish has bundle, but the problem is it doesn't compare to bundling with DSL, because DishNet's not really meant for, somewhere where they can get DSL. You can't compete with that. So even though Dish and DishNet are a bundle, it's not like the bundle that they traditionally get. So if they bundle, like let's say with CenturyLink Prism and they have their DSL, they're getting a much better price, and I can't compete with it because with their DSL they knock the price way down, which I can't do with DishNet.
Sure.
So anyway,
okay.
So I don't know what to do about that. I don't know how to get around. I don't think the website's going to answer that question. But bundles are important to people. It seems like more and more.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably going to be even more with AT&T and DirecTV and all that stuff. But
yeah, that's true. Is that you said you lose a lot of business because of it? I mean, how bad is that situation for you?
well, if they mention they currently have a bundle, generally it's hard for me to compete in price with that.
Okay.
Okay. So if they're in the rural areas where they can't seem to get a bundle, I'm good to go. But if they're in the city and they can get, like, maybe it's MediaCom, they have their internet and their TV, and some haven't even have phone yet. Where they have all three. Well, we don't even do phone, first of all, so phones is out of the factory right out the gate. So if they want to keep their phone, we're pretty much out off the table already.
Gotcha.
So bundling is a big deal. It's not good when I get somebody that calls in and says that bundling is important to them.
Okay.
So I don't know how you can answer that question on our website, but
well, I'm wondering, rule of thumb, I mean, how much money does a consumer save if they bundle? Does that help them save $10 a month, or $20 a month, or $50 a month?
It's more than 10.
More than 10?
Yeah, because let's give you an example. CenturyLink DSL, okay, 10 meg service is going to be about $34 a month for a customer that's bundling with Prism TV, okay. Well, I mean, our lowest package for DishNet is $49 when you add in the lease fee. It's $39, but you add the lease fee. The low package is $49, so you're at $50 versus $34. So, I mean, you get a little bit closer on the 1 year when you're doing 1 year pricing, or if you do, even the 3 year price lock, as long as they stay on the low plan, it's fairly close now. But if you get to the regular pricing, you're not even close, So.
Got it. All right, so we either have to try to take pricing off the table and try and sell this as a premium luxury service standalone, or try and minimize that cost savings and say, okay, you may pay a few more bucks, but you're going to get XYZ benefits because of that. So they may still have to go out to.
Well, the good thing is
CenturyLink.
A lot of times they can still keep their DSL service with CenturyLink.
Yeah.
They can break their bundle, so to speak, cancel their TV service, and still keep their CenturyLink DSL. A lot of people don't understand that. Yeah, they have two bills, but the two bills combined are going to be less expensive, typically, than what they were paying. You follow me with that?
Oh, really? So you're saying it's not necessarily cheaper then? It could be less expensive.
Because they have with a bundle, what they do, CenturyLink and all the others, MediaCom, they put heavy discount on the DSL side, and they make the TV side really heavy, but the consumer only sees one price. Okay, so they're really paying a lot more for their TV service than they would be through Dish, but they don't realize that until they become unbundled. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. So if they break that bundle, they get rid of the TV side and just keep the internet. Does MediaCom raise the price for the internet, or are they able to keep that low price on the internet?
They do. First thing they do, they try to talk them into staying, and give them everything under the sun. But secondly, they do raise the price of the internet, but it's comparable to what DishNet is. Okay.
Got it. Okay.
So whenever they do that, and then they save so much on getting the 3 year price lock, they end up paying less. Yes, they have two different bills, but they are paying less in the long run.
Right.
But that's very hard to explain to them. It's very hard to explain to them. So if I can convince them that they don't understand that they can actually keep their DSL service, they don't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest issue. They think if they get rid of CenturyLink, they got to cancel all those services. They don't understand. They can just break the bundle, keep the DSL if they want.
I might like to do like a explainer video for folks on that. You know, kind of like a common misconception is, you know, I'm saving all this money with the bundle, but once you break it down piece by piece, it's not necessarily true. You can have everything and more, all the great things about Dish, and still either pay the same amount or, you know, comparable within just a few bucks a month, or and less. Okay, good. This is good feedback for me. All right, so real quick, then I want to show you what we got going on here. Doug, and get to the good stuff here. Thank you for your time so far. I appreciate it. Other stuff people looking for, deals, coupons, promotions. We kind of had that already. This. Want to know if service is even available in their area. But that's because it's satellite, it's everywhere.
Pretty much everywhere, yeah.
Yeah, so that may not be a thing folks are looking for. Obviously, to find your phone number. If you're looking for local channels, is that a big thing?
No, not really.
You know, if I get the satellite, am I still going to get my local NBC, ABC, Fox?
I think
CBS?
most people know that. Most people know that now, that they're going to get their local.
Okay. Okay. Number one reason they call is because they don't know how else to set up service. I'm not sure where we got that one, Danielle. Don't know how to set up service. Okay.
That's Chris.
They call because they want a consultation on which package to choose. And Doug, you kind of touched on that. They almost always have questions.
Yeah, but if you have that deal like you were talking about earlier, where you know they plug the channel in and it shows them which package, that would be good. That would be helpful.
Okay.
One thing.
Let's see, accessories. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say one thing that people don't. I just thought of that people don't seem to grasp just yet is that installation and equipment is free with the credit qualification. A lot of people ask me how much is it, and they say, and how much is the install going to be? How much is the equipment going to be? So people still don't get that with credit qualification, that there's nothing to pay up front.
And no equipment to buy.
Right.
90 pages. Free installation, free activation.
No equipment to buy.
No equipment, yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, let's see here. Where's my thing? All right. We're right here down to the end here, Doug. Let's see. Accessories for the TV, or need help installing the TV on the wall. I know we had some pages on the sites for that.
We do.
Nobody.
Yeah, you wouldn't be using them, right, Doug?
Not much request for that.
Yeah, it's more of the RSPs, the bigger retailers that have like the installs that they do.
Okay. And then last question on the equipment here, Doug, is besides the hopper, are you selling a lot of the other DVRs, or is it pretty much all about the hopper right now?
We do whatever. We have to do the others because they're so price conscious. So we do a pretty good mixture of the 722 and the 612 and the hopper. We try to do hopper as much as possible, but once you tell them 15 and every TV after it is 7, they're like, oh, no, and it's too much, and then we have to go to the 722. So then they get inferior equipment. But you don't believe how many people take that. They'll take that because it's $12 cheaper a month.
So wait, the 722 is $12 a month?
Well, most of the times it's $12. No, most of the time it's $12 cheaper than what the hopper is, depending on how many TVs they got. So it's not always $12 cheaper.
Gotcha. Now the 722 is not even a DVR, right?
It's an HD.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's a dual DVR. It's a dual HD DVR. Yeah.
Okay.
It's $10 for the hopper. The 722 is $10 for the DVR service. But the second TV is free, $0, because it's one receiver, and Dish doesn't charge a first receiver fee.
Right. Okay.
So So they're actually getting 2 TVs for $10 extra on that, and they're both got DVR. The 612 is
And
a
the
single.
Hopper is, okay.
It's a single DVR. So say a guy wants one TV, $10 extra per month, but they're only hooking one TV up. So it costs the same as a 722, but it's for one TV.
Gotcha. And then the Hopper is 15 plus 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where it becomes more expensive.
Sure. And you need a Joey, right, for each individual TV, Daniela?
Correct.
No, it's for each individual TV, Doug?
Yes.
To have the Hopper?
Yep, you got the Hopper, and every other TV gets the Joey.
Oh, okay.
The Joey doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything except communicate with Hopper.
Okay.
So if they have more, yeah.
But that $7 is for the Joey.
Correct.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Definitely.
All right, so thank you very much for that. I got some good things out of our conversation. I will make sure that we are addressing these with everything. But let me go ahead and click over, if you can still see my screen. Just give you sort of a flavor about what we're working on here. This is a prototype that we've got here, so let me just refresh this and make sure. Okay, so got some styling things here at the top. We'll get that fixed. But this is basically the new layout, Doug, and I wanted to just take you through some of the things that we got here and get some feedback from you. Right here up at the top, having the phone number big and you know, big numbers that's always available. So if I scroll down this page, you know, that header stays right there at the top all the time.
Good.
Simplify the navigation down into big categories. So we got TV packages, resources, Why Dish, and then About Us, and then an Order Now button. Under the packages, we've got the packages, features, and bundles. And under resources, we've got Learn More About Dish, that channel guide we're talking about, some entertainment stuff, having some blog posts that just get posted to the site for you. Talking about the Dish apps that are available now. Let's see here.
How-to videos.
Oh yeah, thank you. Under resources, yeah, how-to videos. Those are, I think, really helpful. Let's see here. Why Dish? You know, so what we offer, and have a page dedicated to 3-year plan, 1-year plan, to the packages, but then a whole section on comparing Dish versus cable, compare it versus DirecTV, looking at the Hopper versus the Genie. So I can take you through a couple of these pages if you like. The About Us section, obviously, is... Yes, sir.
I was going to say, I don't need to go through them, but I think they're good to have.
Okay. Let me at least just take you to the home page here.
The only suggestion I would make is if you could put channel guide on the top and have just go straight there, that'd be great, because people go there all the time for channel guide.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. Let me scroll down here. Look at this. Right below this, and I'm on my laptop here, so it looks a little smaller, but we wanted to do this big button layout. You know, based on that list, we prioritized, and the things we thought were the most important, we wanted to make just nice big buttons right here on the home page.
Okay.
So we got that channel guide, which you mentioned, is definitely one of them. Browse the latest packages, some kind of a link to a bundle and save, where we can make that argument, you know, about, although it's not a true bundle, it's still a great deal.
Well, they can still
Compare Dish
save. That's true.
Yeah. Compare Dish versus the competition. Really focusing on the Hopper, because I think if people would take the time to watch that video or to learn a little bit about it, they would, you know, never want anything else after that again. And then focusing on those reviews and testimonials that I mentioned.
Yeah.
All right, so section on big buttons, and then we've got a big section here that we talk about the value that Dish brings, you know, the no hidden monthly fees, no purchase receiver fees, all the cool stuff you get. Moving on down, we've got the packages. We need to make a note to speak to Fernando about the design. They're in the middle of working on this as we speak here, Doug. So this is not totally final here, but for example, on the packages, how do we keep that nice and clean and simple for folks? And here's what we came up with: was a little tabber that changes for the first year savings plan or the 3-year guarantee. You just click on it, and those packages would change. I can see what's available.
Okay. The only thing I don't like is the format. The format of that, the price. I don't like that. I mean.
Do you mean how like the 99 cents?
You know why?
Too low?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like that being down there because it looks kind of like you're saying 49, and then it goes to 99, 64, then it goes to 99, 74, then it goes to 99.
Yeah,
and maybe it's just because I'm in the business. I see it that way. I don't know, but that's what it looks like to me. When I first saw it, I thought the second price was regular price, is what I thought.
Yeah, that's actually a mistake. So I'll get that cleaned up. That's just a mistake in the coding right now. They're in the midst of putting this all together. Yeah, so it should be in small letters up here at the top, like 99 cents.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Next time you see that, we'll get that fixed up. But moving on down the page, a whole section on the technology, really focusing on the new Hopper 3, with nice big artwork and some bullet points about what makes it so different. Then moving on down the page here, as we're almost done, having a section for your local business, right? So a spot where you could feature your own photo or one of your installers out doing their work, a quick intro paragraph, and then links to meet the team or you to have your full About Us page with your bio and history and that kind of thing. Having a section for your upcoming events and a section for photos, which is carried over from the old pages right now, right? We got those photos and events sections right here.
Now, the only thing I would suggest about that is I would like to have up above somewhere that we're locally owned and operated somehow to tout that, to be able to see it on the first. Yeah.
Perfect. Hold that thought for 1 minute, and I'll get to the last thing to address that. But I think you're totally right on with that. And then finally, we got these ad panels here down at the bottom that you're probably accustomed to having. And then a testimonial scroller here. So whatever testimonials that you're able to collect from your customers, we're going to give you an easy way to upload those up to the site, or just copy and paste them to the site, and then we'll have those display on a scroller here on the home page. And finally, the bottom of the page, a nice big map so folks can see what your location is, what your hours of operation are, phone number, areas that you serve, easy ways to find you, both your storefront and your social media profiles.
Okay.
All right, so last thing I want to show you here, you mentioned the locally owned and operated piece. This big billboard at the top, we call that a hero section, or some people call it a billboard. And what I wanted to do was to make this more custom. And so if you're a smaller retailer and you focus on one local market, obviously the locally owned and operated is very important. So not forcing retailers to have the same banner is kind of the point that I'm after. Basically having different banners created for different sizes of retailers, so for the local guys or for the regional guys, they maybe want to make different points, to their customers. So just show you a couple of ideas that our designers are working on right now. So you're in, let's see, Doug, you're in Missouri, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just some thoughts, things we could do. Pictures of the city. Big headlines that would say locally owned and operated. We've got some other examples, if you've got a storefront that you want to feature on that big banner section, a shot of the city, just some different looks and different layouts to really emphasize what you're saying, the locally owned and operated. Another one that I don't have on here was kind of a Polaroid, like photos, snapshots of you and your team to put right there on that section if you wanted to do that, which would say locally owned and operated right there up front.
Okay. Like that.
But the takeaway is, we're going to have a bunch of different options for you to choose from, and you'll be able to work with our designers, I guess, as you guys already do, to customize that for your site.
We don't work enough together because I haven't done a whole lot of changes, but it'd be easier if I could just do them myself. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yep.
Some of that stuff.
So we've broken this rollout into 2 phases. The first is transitioning off of the old website platform onto the new one that we've built, and the second phase will be actually giving you guys a back office or a dashboard that you can log into and add those photos or add your own events, add your own blog posts, all that kind of stuff. So that's where we're at. Time frame, we're looking at middle of this month here to actually start migrating the sites such as yours over to the new platform. If you want to be one of the first ones, help us squash any remaining bugs or anything like that, you're certainly welcome to. Otherwise, if you'd rather wait till later in the pack, you can do that too.
I don't want to wait.
Probably, what's that?
I don't want to wait. I'd rather be one of the first ones.
Sure. Well, I'll put you right up front, man. The other thing was to the timeline on that dashboard. We're probably looking at another month out, so probably middle of April, having you get a username and a password and be able to just log straight into this thing and make the changes yourself.
Okay.
Cool. So that's, I know we ran a little bit long here, but I appreciate your feedback, and I hope this was valuable to you. I hope you're excited about kind of what we have in the works for you.
I am. I mean, I definitely am happy about having a redesign and everything, and I know people are going more and more to the site, and I want to be able to make sure that it's up to date and a little bit, fresh. I think a new look would be really good right now, especially with all the additional advertising we're doing. So.
Beautiful. Could I ask you about the advertising real quick? You mentioned radio spots. Are you? Is that the bulk of what you're doing? Radios and events?
We do a lot of radio because it seems to work. I've tried everything. Right now we're doing a lot of different things. We're doing newspaper. We're doing radio. We're doing television. The reason I'm doing all this because Dish is helping me. It's kind of a special thing that they're doing. But anyway, they're helping me a little bit more than they normally would. So we're also doing Pandora, and we're doing some getting ready to do some Facebook posts and billboard. So.
Wow. Do the Facebook posts and billboards come from Dish as well?
Everything, all the extra that we're doing right now, or majority of the extra is coming from them. I have my own radio spots that I do, but we're trying to basically find out what works in the market. So that's part of the initiative with Dish is, number one, they're trying to promote local retailers, which is good for me. Number two, they're trying to find out what marketing works in this market. So then if we figure that out, it's a three-month time frame. If we figure that out, then they're going to put together some kind of and this is all confidential, obviously, but they're going to put together some kind of maybe a permanent way to help some retailers that have a presence like we do. We have showrooms and stuff like that. So it's more or less to try to find out what's working. That's the whole point of it. And then during this time, it builds my revenue because it builds my activations, and then it builds my co-ops, and then I can continue it. See what I mean? So.
Absolutely. Yeah, the reason I ask, in addition to this redesign, one of the things that we're working on is transitioning from being a technology and a website company and really focusing more heavily on being a marketing consulting company for retailers. So that's why I'm curious, what folks like yourself are doing, what mediums you're advertising in, what seems to be working, what's not working, and maybe in the future putting together different modules for folks who are, like you're heavy into radio right now, but in the future if you wanted to get into, say, I don't know, Facebook advertising or some digital stuff, having a digital advertising module, or for folks that.
If somebody could help me with the digital side, I do some of the Facebook stuff myself now, with the boosting the posts and all that stuff. But the social media thing, I would need some help in that area for sure.
Yeah.
Sure, and I know there's a lot of folks who maybe would love to get into the radio advertising game, in other areas around the country. Putting together a radio module for them with all the things you need to know about radio and tips and tricks for what seems to work and what doesn't work and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'll give them one. I'll give them one tip right off the bat about radio. You got to stay after it.
Okay.
You can't do it once or twice a month. It's a long-term thing. It does pay off, but it takes a while.
Okay.
So.
Very cool. All right, Doug. Well, man, I appreciate your time today. I really do, and we're going to take what you've said here and make sure that we're checking the boxes on all those things so that we can make this rollout a success for everybody.
Okay.
And
Thanks a lot.
I'll move you right to the front. I'll move you right to the front of the line to get yours as one of the first ones rolled out here. Probably, I would say, conservatively, the next 3 weeks or so.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
All right, Doug. Well, thank you so much for your time. And if you have any questions, feel free to you can always give us a call back. Okay.
All right. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye.